How you doing, everybody? Hi, Abdul. You're going to be driving. Okay, be careful. I would say my unholy trinity would be Panerai, Breitling, and Tag Heuer. Hey, yeah. Okay. Hey, Mason. Morning. I am here in the UK, ready for my Moser Pioneer Mad Swiss Red on the wrist. Oh, very nice watch. Hi, Philip. Goldfinger, Brian, Niner, Alexi. How you doing, neighbor? Michael. Okay. All right. Let me see. Is sound okay and everything? Hi, Travis. Lazard. Wow, what an interesting group. Okie doke. Hi, Dom. Truman. Sounds good. Great. Hey, Rancher. Sorry I'm late. You know, that's what the corner is for, Rancher. Speaking of which, by the way, Rancher is my muse. He helped me come up with the top. Well, he helped me come out. He came up with it. He came up with the topic that we've got, the unholy trinity. Hi, Krill. Chris. Okay. Boy, an unholy trinity. Where do we start on that? The thing that struck me as an unholy trinity, um, a couple things. I got 2 out of 3 so far. One was any watch company that is not truthful about the watches that they have. In other words, they're not truthful about the movement. They're not truthful about anything. Okay, they sort of make stuff up. That's my big bugaboo. The next one are watch companies and or ADs that charge a premium for a popular watch. I don't know. I just don't think that's right. Um, I know what happens, but I don't like it. So those are 2 of my 3 Holy Trinity. I'll have to figure out the next one. Um, well, I think all 3 of them have something to do with a type of fraud. So, okay, anybody got Abdul kick things off? Panerai, that's one. Love the looks of Panerai. I'd probably never buy one though, probably for the same reason that Abdul wouldn't. Um, Tag Heuer. Tag Heuer. Um, Tag Heuer is a little more problematic for a couple reasons. One, I mean, a little more problematic for on. A long time ago, there was this guy who was a collector, and Tag Heuer had these little different colored ones, and he just wanted to collect every color. I don't know why. It was sort of had a certain charm. The other reason is that, and this sort of goes. You can cut it both ways. That what is it? Carol Forestier Kasapi is the head of their movement outfit. But from what I understand, she's been working to set up a carbon uh, balance spring. Now, I have not been especially enthusiastic about silicon ones, but I'm not too sure about ones that are made of carbon or carbon thing. But it's sort of like it's not so much that I'm a Luddite, because I'm not. Uh, I don't think any of us really are, but it's sort of like my my iPhone is sitting here with which I set my watches with my iPhone because my iPhone I know is going to be accurate, and I'm not too sure about my watches. So it's the kind of thing that is sort of an irony. Here we are in a very, very modern age, and we have an archaic, well, I don't know if archaic is the right word, but somewhat not new, mechanical technology that is sort of holds the interest. And so when I start seeing this sort of to solve the problem with magnetism, heat and cold changes, and all of these little things. Now, um, yeah, you can do it, but it's been done with quartz watches years ago, back in the 60s, I think, the 1960s. Had quartz watches, and every one of those problems was solved then. But they wanted to make a comeback with mechanical watches, and they have, my God, the excuses they have are amazing. Now, one of the interesting things about that is that I guess that would be my third tier of the Holy Trinity, of the Unholy Trinity, would be silicon substitutions for, you know, I don't know. It's sort of like giving cavemen in a battle, one of the famous ancient Greek battles. If somebody came and said, okay, this time we're going to give machine guns to, it's just like, wait a minute. Okay, what do you got? Hi, Michael. Richard Millet, Hublot, and Tag Heuer. Boy, a lot of people don't like Tag Heuer. Ranchers got Rolex, Richard Millet, and either Panerai or Hublot. Krill. Let's see. What do you got here? Okay, a lot of distaste for, one that nobody's mentioned is one that I don't like not to like, but I don't like them. And this is Jacobs, the one by Jacobs and Company. There's sort of like there's too much bling in that, too much bling, and there's too much dancing baloney and less substance to those watches. Sort of jewelry watches at best, but that would be, I guess, if you had to start adding brands to it. Hi, Lee. How you doing? Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's see. I have a 2009 Breitling nav timer. It's powered by, if memory serves me, a Breitling 23, which is, as we all know, is a Valjoux 7753. Yeah, that is sort of like that's a funny kind of thing. Like there's the basically Nomos Alpha is essentially sort of a German redo of the Pazoo 7001. Is that you have a lot of that going on out there. That's sort of comes under my unholy trinity, the kinds of things. But if somebody has ours is an Acme, 123, and then they put based on an ETA, I don't know, 28, 29 or something, whatever, popular. Yeah, that's fine with me. There's this one company I'm gonna have a review on for my Monday video, and I was looking at it, and they're honest. They are a really honest company. I mean, you go in there, you look at their stuff, and I was looking at the different prices. I think all of them are under 1,000, but are 1,000 euro. I think they're all under 1,000 euro. but I saw some at a really heavy drop, and they have a new batch coming out. But the interesting thing was so many different movements, and they tell you what they are, what they're from, and so forth. They have Chinese movements. Those are their most reasonable prices. I'll put it that way. And then they have some inexpensive Japanese movements, and then they have some inexpensive Swiss movements. And so they sort of run the gamut, but boy, you know what you're getting, exactly what you're getting, and that I like. I mean, so if a company does that, how can you? I mean, you know what you're getting. Any watch company that sort of is trying to hide something. You know, these idiots. This is my Fabergé. What they hide are the best things. They hide this Imperial Eagle rotor. They hide the Frederick Piguet movement, and they don't even tell you what it is. I mean, it's like, oh, the movement is a sort of is really they have some Fabergé name for it, but I mean, it's a much better movement than Fabergé would hope to have. I don't know how to rate that other than I have a special watch that I like. Okay, let's see. If we're only talking about watches, I agree with Abdullah watches. If not, I would be my 3X mother-in-law. Oh man, I got uh okay. Jacob and Company. I don't consider them a real company. Yeah, well, Jacob the jeweler. Jacob the jeweler. I don't know. There's something that I can't help but like about him at the same time. Here was a guy that was a refugee from Uzbekistan, and he comes and he goes through this jewelry making uh, program, and he didn't quite graduate from it. It was some jewelry school. So then he gets a shop in New York, and he puts out all these blingy watches, and he's really popular with the gangsters. They love his stuff. So he ends up with somehow involved in money laundering and ends up having to go to jail. So they sent old Jacob the jeweler to jail. He gets out and he comes back. And, is that sort of like, that gopher in that Bill Murray movie, that golfing movie, the old gopher keeps coming back. Oh, Jacob the jeweler does too. And I got to hand it to anybody who's resilient like that. I don't know. Okay, let's see what you got here. Canadian Watchman. Hi, how you doing? You love the story of Charles Vermeaux. Okay, who is he? It looks like a French name that I would mispronounce. Hey, Howard. Certain watchmakers of real genius like Carol Forcier-Casapi and Ludwig Ochenstein are deserving of a free pass on this issue. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think so, because I know that Ochenstein was involved in some of the early development of silicon hairsprings. Yeah, he was a early bird on that. But Kasapi is with, I don't know how I feel about carbon. I'm probably about the same way, because in order to make a carbon hairspring. By the way, I was talking with a guy about what do they call? I can't think of the name of it. Omega came up with they have a silicon hairspring, but they said it was adjustable, and they put on the end of the hairspring what they call a blade. and the blade is adjustable. Apparently, the blade is flexible enough that you can, and then it's hooked to the end of the. I don't know. If it's the blade will stretch back and forth a little. Now, the thing that they use to change the stretch on it is a snail cam. And I just love snail cams. They're the coolest things. When I was first learning about the how retrogrades work, I was looking at the retrogrades by Jean-Marc Vitorac, and the old snail cam and how it worked. I just was fascinated by that, and that's what is doing the adjustment. Sort of a type of curb regulator using a snail cam. I thought, wow, that's that's sort of interesting. Not sure how the blade works with this hairspring because I don't know. Okay, what do you guys have? Hey, Lazardi, Richard Mille, Rolex, and Hublot. Boy, everybody likes to pick on Hublot. It's sort of like I look at them that they're picked on too much. A friend of mine and I were getting a get out of jail free cards at Tiffany's in New York on the one on Fifth Avenue. We come out and turn right, and right next door was Hublot. Well, here we are with our Tiffany bags, our get out of jail free cards. And so the guy at Hublot is there, says, hey, come on in, take a look at these. Now, you got to understand is that for the most part, jewelry stores and watch stores in New York, there's somebody at the door who looks dangerous, and they've got to unlock it to let you in, and then you can. Oh, this guy came out. Hey, come on in. Close the door and locks it up. And I looked at the Hublot, and I got to tell you, some of them look pretty good. And I found out later that Hublot had won something like 7 Grand Prix awards. So it's like I think a lot of people it's sort of like it's the kid to pick on. When I was in elementary school, there were certain kids who were different, and other kids picked on them a lot. And that's how come that's why I feel like somebody, what do you like to bully Hublot for? And they're terrible. they may be, but anyway, that's my Hublot story. Let's see. Hey, Mason, at what point is a manufacturer considered to be lying about their movements? See, when they open their mouth, that's as soon as they say anything, Mason. Okay. Often companies buy ETAs or Solitas that have been made to a different spec. Yeah, good point. That's a great point. They are, and there are also different levels of those watches. Solita has the same grading. I think it's exactly the same grading as ETA, and so they have the first one, which is like they had a nickname at a Panerai 318. It's just sort of unadorned. And then the next, I think it was called the Labouré, and then there's the top level, and then above that, the COSC. Interesting stuff. Hey, Vladimir, how you doing? Dominic, for the most part, the movement manufacturers didn't matter. Only recently it started to matter relative to mechanical watch history. That's true, Dominic. I think the reason is that people used to trust them. All right. You take, for example, Valjoux used to be that's a really great, and they probably still are. And so you have, then they were bought by ETA, and a lot of times ETA would rename them. Same with Pazu. You take the Pazu 7001, and it's an ETA now. Now it's an ETA 7001. I don't know. Hey, JC. Canadian Watch Monkey, the man credited for saving Zenith. Osteen, right? Hey, Velvia man. The man who hid the tools to make the El Primero. Huh. That's interesting. Rancher. Okay, let's see who we got here, Philip. Hi, Apar. I got to. Oh, Philip. Modern Patek, Breguet, and Tissot. That is an interesting choice, Philip. Yeah, I think to me, the both Patek Philippe and Breguet were the most disappointing because they had touted the craftsmanship, and now they put in the old silicone hairspring and Bob's your uncle. They can't even be regulated. I mean, they don't even have a regulator. They're bragging, oh, we have a free spun. Is that right? Yeah, free spin movement in the balance. Okay, free spun. Oh boy. All right. Well, it is really better if you can adjust the weights on the rims of the balance wheel, which is not easy. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I got my iPhone, and then I can adjust my real mechanical watches with it. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Was the Blade silicone hairspring not introduced by Omega last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. It's a relatively new one. I thought it had to do with breaking it up somehow, and then like taking a link or adding a link to a bracelet, but it's not. It's just this thing they call a blade with a long tail on it, and it's flexible. And I guess the way it's set up, if you loosen it, it'll slow the watch down. If you tighten it up, it'll speed it up, just like a curb regulator. So I'm not sure, but it is sort of interesting. The thing I like though, just because I love snail cams, they're just so cool. I like it. That's the dumbest reason I've ever heard in my life. Okay. Okay. Ooh, Vladimir Fish. You don't like Gallet, JLC, and Girard-Perregaux. Now those are why those three? Um, I've always liked Jaeger-LeCoultre. I don't like the fact that they dropped the Geophysic line, which was to me their best and most interesting watches. And then they have another set of watches that I can't afford that are really excellent. But that's sort of an interesting one. Girard-Perregaux. I don't know. I mean, all three of those. Gallet, don't they have? I mean, I don't know what kind of movements they have, but I don't know. Let's see. Was was that blade silicon hairspring not introduced by Omega last year? Yeah. It was introduced last year. I just found out about it though. I mean, last year was only a couple months away. Okie doke. Sam's Club carries my 3 picks. Great watch seller. Hey, pseudoscientists. I was wondering if AI will push movements forward. Boy, now there's another topic. What will happen with AI? Will somebody bring in AI and tell the old AI, okay, make us a good watch out of the old AI? Okay, make something for it. I don't know. AI is a sort of an interesting kind of thing. One of the things I used to program, one of the fun things was to write a program that would then write another program. And I always thought that was fun. I mean, but it was like a stupid dog trick. It was that, well, okay, I'm going to write another program. Um, and but like I said, is that I don't know what AI is going to do. There's apparently there's a company, Nvidia or something like that, that makes these chips that AI uses. And apparently, over the last few days, their stocks went up, and now the company is worth something like 5 or 6 trillion. I mean, it's just amazing to shoot up. So yeah, they may be indeed. Hey, as a matter of fact, I think that may already exist. There's a company that's owned by Festina, and this company. Let me see. 1 second, I'll look it up. Okay. There's a company called Manufacturology Vallée des Jeux SA. Okay. Now, what they have, this company is owned by a group, a Spanish group called Festina. They own Soprod. They own some other stuff too. So what this company does is that they have this nanotechnology running their watch parts making machine that they have. Now, the reason I found out about it was that Festina bought Technotime when Technotime went belly up. Technotime, I think, was a Danish watch company. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. Anyway, so they had it, but they wanted to get the parts, and so they fed the information into this really smart watchmaking machine that they have. And when they whipped it up, and Ophion came out with this Technotime movement, but it was really made by Soprod, or actually it's made by the Manufacturology Vallée des Jeux, that's owned by Soprod, and Soprod is owned by Festina. So I mean, those things may that's why that is such an interesting question. I don't know what they're going to do. Anyway, thanks, pseudoscientist. That was a good one. Jim Thompson. So what is the topic? I do well to watch my language. Okay, Jim. The topic is, who is your unholy trinity of watches? By the way, Jim Thompson, if you don't know this, Jim, you probably do, is a really excellent writer, in my opinion. He wrote some really very tough novels. He's a good old boy, really, but I mean, incredibly good stuff. Hey, HRM, Hublot gets a lot of... Now, we're not supposed to talk that way, HRM. No scatological adjectives, okay? Or nouns. Okay. They used to claim they made in-house movements, but they turned out to be modified ETA movements. Aha! That's a good point, HRM. You know who did that and really caught really bad trouble was Bremont. Bremont came out with one, and the guy who jumped all over him was Roger Smith, on that. Yeah, if some company, that's why I think transparency is so important. Here's this one company that I'm going to take a look at for Monday's review, and they're just open about everything. So you know what you're getting. I mean, to me, that would be a way to advertise, like, okay, you buy a watch from us, you know what you're getting, as opposed to basically it amounts to written mumbling on a lot of these other ones. Oh, it's a Swiss made movement, So what does that mean? That tells you very little. JC, okay, Movado, Invicta, and Universal Geneve. As for now, It's just because how far they have fallen. You know, I'll tell you something, JC. It's a good point. I mean, how to measure? You measure their fall from grace. Um, you put in this is it's you put in a business guy where you had a watchmaker guy, and sometimes sales will go up, but everything else will go down. One of the good examples of this that worked out as a plan with Parmigiani, they hired the guy who was I think from Gucci. He had been helped turn them around. The watches from Parmigiani were, I don't know if Michel Parmigiani did the design. I know he did the movements. He designed the movements, and then they went to Vasseur, and they part of that whole vertical organization that the Sandoz Family Foundation has. So you have somebody who puts somebody in charge of a good or a failing company, and then the turnaround can go one of two ways. And I think in looking at those JC at Movado and Invicta and Universal Geneve, you got a point. Hey, Vladimir. This one will surprise many. Yeah, it did. Hey, Rancher, screw it. I'm changing my third choice to Omega for their unlimited limited editions. Oh, that's another good one too. That'll be my third is unlimited limited editions. I mean, like, okay, everything's a limited edition. I mean, unless you have an infinite number. Like we made 5 million, only limited to 5. It's like, and then they're not so limited. Oh, hey, everybody was so happy with our limited edition. We're coming out with another edition. It's just craziness. Let's see. HRM difference between ETA and Solida gradient is that ETA upgrades the balance wheel and hairspring for their top grade or better. Solida only upgrades the balance wheel. Oh, okay. Hey, thanks, HRM. That is an important difference. Hey, Wim, how you doing? MVMT, Vincero, and Invicta. What about, was it Struller or Struller, something like that? That's another good one that sort of looks like my time is running out. Okay, let me finish up these last ones here. Invita, the founder's wealth went up $69 billion. Thanks, Brian. Edward. Okay. Just want to know the status of the project. We have a meeting on Sunday, Edward. That'll be announced. Casio already made a limited edition AI G-Shock. Yikes. Hey, Dino, what's up? Let's see. Nomos has a great watches. I don't get the hate. I don't either. He should buy a new leather jacket. Who? Hello there, Eric. Good to see you. Quarter Eye. Okay. All right, guys. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'll finish this video. Michael, Sen does a great job telling you what's in their watches. Yeah, they do. One thing about Sen, I wish Sen had one really great German movement with UWD 33.1. I wish they would do more German movements in the German watches. You can count on one hand the German watchmakers who do their own movements. Lange, Langenheim, which are really Marco Lang, Stefan Kadoki, Moritz Grossman. You don't have too many, but you've got a lot more German watchmakers. So, okay, let's get more German. Well, they can do what Sin did, is use a really good German movement. They don't have to make their own movements. Okay, let's see. Okay, HRM, my unholy trinity is Vizianico, okay, Seiko, and Zalo. Seiko, huh? All brands that have renowned quality control issues. I didn't know that. Venice Zinkio has rebranded itself 4 times because of negative reviews. I didn't know that. That's interesting. 16.4 on Thursday, added 27. Good grief. Okay, guys. Shinola. Okay. All right, AM. Okay, guys. You're forgetting Nomos doing their own movements. No, I'm not. Nomos does their own movements. The DW, what is it called? DUW ones that they have. No, they're great. I love Nomos. You got it's. They were even honest about the alpha. Okay. All right, guys. This afternoon, I will again rely on the wit and wisdom of the rancher for a topic. But I do like that, a good topic. Why don't we do this for our topic this afternoon? Let's talk about what would it be like to have AI designing watch movements? Now, designing a watch is that I'm not worried about, but designing a watch movement, boy, that would be a fun topic. Let's think about that between now and 4:00 New York time, and we can kick that around. Thanks again, guys, for getting up early. Some of you got really up early, like the guys from Oklahoma and anyone from California. So take care.